Welcome back everyone. In today's video I'm going to cover game 42 of a First Book of Morphy. We have Paul Morphy versus Henry Boucher with the Philidor defense. So let's go ahead and go over the moves. We have e4, e5, knight f3, d6. This is a Philidor defense. d4, e captures d4. Queen captures d4. Here the author comments that this is an early queen move by white, that he will have to move the queen again in the future to centralize the smaller pieces. So either if knight c6 quick kicks the queen out, again, which gets played in the game, but eventually you're going to have to move your queen back somewhere to make room for the rest of the pieces here. So knight c6, bishop b5, bishop d7. Bishop takes on c6, bishop captures on c6, bishop g5, and here the author recommends that knight f6 is better. If knight f6, you develop the knight, right, and then you open the diagonal for the bishop here, the king bishop. So bishop now to e7. Later on, if your knight gets captured, well, you captured back on f6. And then your bishop can be here on this diagonal with this diagonal open. If not, then with your bishop here, if the knight moves to a different square, let's say if it moves back, now the bishop has this diagonal, the d8 to h4 diagonal open. Okay, instead we have f6, and here we see these pawns are on dark squares, which blocks the dark squared bishop. Again, it's kind of a both ways type of thing, right? Because the bishop, this one is now going to have trouble, right? Because all the pawns are in dark squares, but he also blocked in your own bishop. Bishop h4, knight h6, knight c3, bishop e7, castles, castles, queen c4. Again, here, white repositions the queen to cover the light squares without a loss of time due to the check, right? Because it's in check, so the king has to move. So it's like a free move for white to reposition the queen to cover the light squares. And again, this is due, and this is also because black played f6. So king h8, knight d4, centralizing the knight with a threat on e6. And again, we have a fork on e6. Queen d7, rook a to d1, and rook f7. And here the author comments that this is a very odd move. Black has blocked f7 for the knight. Again, here the knight can go back to f7 and maybe come here to e5. But now black has blocked it. Black has also tied the knight to the defense of the rook. So now the knight is in charge of defending the rook on f7. So the knight cannot move at all because it is threatened by the queen, right? If the knight moves back, right? If the knight moves back, then queen captures on f7. The rook lost mobility by moving up to f7. Now, what the author is saying later on, that I think black was worried about losing a pawn, right? Let's say if black did not play rook f7 and now he plays f5, then we have bishop captures, queen captures, and then knight captures on c6, pawn captures on c6, queen captures on c6, and black loses a pawn. So maybe that's why the rook was played to f7. So rook f7, f4, a5, and again here we see now when the rook is defended, f5, bishop captures on e7, rook captures on e7, and then now this doesn't work because the queen captures on c6, right? So knight captures on c6, queen captures on c6. Now if the queen recaptures the queen, then black all black has is doubled pawns on c6 and c7. So we have a5 by black, f5 by white. And here the author comments that e4 is now a backward pawn. White created an outpost on e6. And this outpost is further advanced than the outpost for black, which is e5. Again, both black and white have outposts for the knight, but the one for white is further advanced. Also, the pawn restricts black's mobility in the area. Black cannot play f5 no more to free his pieces. So rook f to f8, knight e6, rook g8, a4. Here the author comments perhaps white was preventing a skewer with bishop b5 in case white plays knight c to d5. Maybe just preventing black gaining more space on the queen side with b5. So again, if let's try a move for white. If this, right, if knight d5, then black has this move bishop b5. After queen moves, then we have bishop takes here, losing the exchange for white. So maybe that's why white played a5. He can also be preventing b5 from black. So knight g4, threading on a fork on e3. Queen e2, knight e5, getting to the outpost. Bishop g3. The author comments, white's rooks cannot move up to d3 or f3 on the way to the king side until the e5 knight is destroyed. So queen c8, black is trying to do the same thing and capture and take away the knight on e6. Bishop captures e5 and d captures on e5. And the reason why d captures e5 is to improving the bishop on e7 to move it to c5. So it gets the long diagonal. Again, in general, it's preferred to capture towards the center, but you always have to assess and evaluate the situation. In this case, with this capture, again, black will improve his bishop, his dark squared bishop. Rook f3, bishop d7. Now here, remember, the bishop on d7 is attacked once and defended once. But if you're able to add attackers, then that could be a result in a combination. Also, if you threaten two things at once. So rook h3, threatening checkmate in 2 with rook captures h7, h6, queen d2, double threat, threatening to capture on h6. So queen captures h6 check, g captures h6, and then rook captures h6 checkmate. And also capturing on d7. So again, which one's the most important threat for black is queen captures h6, right? So black played king h7 to defend out a defender to the h6 pawn. But here, now white wins the piece with queen captures d7. Bishop d6, blocking the connection between the rook and the queen. Now rook sacrifice on h6 check. King captures h6, rook d3, king h5, queen f7, and here black resigned. So again, the king is just going to get checkmated here. So that's pretty much it. So let's do a quick recap. Again, this is you gotta play knight f6, develop your knight, and then followed by bishop e7, right? Knight h6, and again, this one is you want your knight to be in the center, attacking center squares. Again, now white gets the rook into the game, so white has the rook, the knight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces in the game. Black is not doing so bad, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. The rook is behind a pawn. Maybe we should push f5. So now that the bishop is able to attack the other bishop. Again, here he blocks his own rook. And now maybe instead of a5, black plays f5 here. And again, bishop takes, queen takes, and now at least you can double up the rooks here on the f8 file. Maybe that's a way that could have gone, that the game could have gone. And then here again, a double thread, and black loses a piece. So that is pretty much it. Again, let me know what you thought of this video, and I will see you all in the next video.